Okay, I am live. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I didn't have any big plans today, so I thought I would go ahead and do the broadcast today. And, you can always, for those who have plans today, can always watch it on the replay. And I just thought I'd go ahead and do it. So, all right. I'm going to wait just a second while people are coming in, and then I will get started. Okay, it looks like a few people have come in. So I guess I will get rolling. Hopefully you can all see and hear me okay. All right. And hopefully we'll have a great broadcast today because the last couple times weren't so great, and I'm hoping for a much better one today. So, all right, what I am doing today is I'm working with resin and rub-on transfers. Hi, Jennifer. Ooh, I bet it's hot over there. It's really hot here today. Really the kind of weather that you don't want to be outside any more than you have to. So it's kind of bad for a holiday, but it is what it is. So, hi, Nancy. So this is what I'm doing here, this resin coaster. They are advertised as coasters, these molds. Of course, I don't have them right in my reach. I got them on Amazon. Let's here. Okay, I've got them on Amazon, and I think they're rather large for a coaster, myself personally, and I don't, I don't think I would like them as coasters. I like a coaster that's absorbent. Uh, Usually your drinks, well, I guess it depends on what you're drinking, but if you're drinking something cold, they seem to sweat. Uh, and, putting it on just a piece of resin like that, to me, is not great. I'd rather have something more absorbent, like I said. So I am using these more or less as just art in the house, that I can just put on a little easel and put it on a coffee table or someplace just to kind of make me smile. I kind of like these whimsical designs. So that's pretty much how I'm going to use these. You could also drill a hole in the resin and hang these if you wanted to do that as well. The design is only on the front, but that's okay. But I mean, if you wanted to hang it in your window or something like that, you certainly could do that. So that's the backside is just kind of white, no color on the back. But like I said, you could hang them up or just use them as cute little objects of art around the house. So when you get these coasters, at least the ones that I got on Amazon, it's a package of 6. So you get 3 of the 6, I'm sorry, 3 of the round and 3 of the square. This is just one style. They have a ton of different styles. But I really liked this one with the edge because it looks kind of like, it's kind of gem-like, has little faceted edges on there. The square one does not, but it's still nice. Also, I'm not sure if I'll do it on the next one, the next demo, or I don't know. I have several different things planned with these rub-ons. I have one with glass that's going to be coming up possibly next week. I mean, not next week, but the next demo, where I have put the rub-ons on fabric like this, and then they're sandwiched in between two layers of glass and then soldered on. So I kind of like this option as well. The rub-ons on this fabric, I think it's a linen fabric. I just love it. It looks kind of old-timey to me. So, and you could even make little pendants with that if you wanted to, with the soft solder technique. So that's kind of cool. I think it's cool. Anyway, so I may do that on the next demo, or I may do a another resin with making agate slices, and that is um, with a different mold. This has got the hole inside, like the agate slices typically do. So I got a set of these as well. But this is, I haven't ventured to make anything with these yet. I poured a layer of resin. This is one piece right here for the first pour. And then, I don't know, I'm going to decorate it somehow to hopefully look like an agate slice. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of what I got planned for the next couple of demos. Now, the other thing is the rub-ons themselves. And these that I'm using today are from a company called, it's weird. It looks like Taperlogy, it looks like Taperlogy, but it's pronounced Taperlugi, but there's no U in it. It's kind of weird, but I'll have that in the along with the handout, the name, the website where you can purchase these rub-ons if you like. I really like them. They're not cheap. What's cheap? You know, nothing's cheap anymore. But I really like all the different styles and objects that they have. I've cut up a lot of these sheets already to make different things with naturally, but they have different categories, like some, I don't know, wildlife, different things. They have marine life. There's one packet, I think it's 6 different sheets, and it has fish and whales and different things, all marine life. And then there is like a tropical, and then there's like farm animals and zoo animals on here, and butterflies, butterflies, different birds, and then there's a lot of greenery and flowers and mushrooms. Here's some other ones that have some cool things on here, and more greenery and leaves, like fall colored leaves, and other birds and feathers, all kinds of neat things. They have, like I said, I bought a variety of packages from them. I haven't done too much with these, but there's all kinds. There's like canceled postage stamps from like World Stamps. There's documents. There's all kinds of things. Like if you're doing scrapbooking, you would probably want those kinds of things. But I'm trying to do, I guess, different things, like make little scenes and then use some of the flowers individually. So I guess there's a bunch of stuff you can do. Now, I also found, my friend Rhonda found the cactus stickers at the dollar store. That's a deal. It depending if you like this sort of thing. But the dollar store had only, I think it was Dollar Tree, They have very, very limited rub-ons. They have tons of stickers, but they're not used the same way. So, um, that's a thought from the dollar store. And then there's also the Tim Holtz ideology. He's got some rub-on transfers too. So you can use those in a variety of different ways. I guess it just depends on what you want to make. So um, let's see. And as I cut these, well, let me just tell you a little bit about the the paper itself. This is actually like there's a white backing paper on the back, and then your design, and then there's a clear uh, sort of like a plasticky film that's on top, and I'll show you as we're working with it. So my point in telling you about that is that when you cut pieces up, say you have to cut into the sheet to get where, like if you want one in the middle, you have to kind of cut around things to get there. And in the process, sometimes you have an odd sticker or two or 10 that have come off of the sheet that you're not using right now. The issue that you might have, you probably will have if you keep them all together, which I kind of do, you have the little cut up ones here, is because it's a couple of layers, if you have like pointy other pieces that are in here, sometimes they can get under, or between, I should say, between the film and the backing paper. And that can ruin your design. Like when you try to get them apart, because it's sticky. This top layer is sticky, and when you pull that off, sometimes when you're trying to get that apart, it pulls part of the design off. I'm not saying it'll happen all the time or whatever. I'm just saying for you to be aware that it could happen. So take care, when you have your pieces uh, disconnected from the main page. I love this deer. I'm going to do something with him. I was going to do that for today's demo, but um, I don't know. I couldn't. There were some other things that I wanted to add to this that I don't have, so I ordered some other stuff. Um, I actually just wrote to the company and asked them if they would consider making some other designs, like some other grasses, tall grasses, short grasses, so that if you are doing little wildlife scenery, you could have some other little things to work with. Some things work well and some things don't. And their little bunny. And I love that blue bunny in the waistcoat that will be on the, let me see, I have it right here. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. This blue bunny, this bunny in the blue waistcoat and those mushrooms. I just love it. But there's only one bunny like this on the sheet. So, and one fox like that. I love that too. But I really love this guy. So anyway, I asked them if they consider making some other sheets. I told them what I was doing with them and sent them a picture of these things, and asked if they'd consider making some other variety. Who knows if they will or not, but hey, it doesn't hurt to ask. So, yeah. Oh, hi, everybody. All right, let's see. Patty and Carol and Jennifer and Pat. Hello, hello. Nancy. All you guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this non-eventful in my life holiday. It's just the way it works out. My daughter and my grandson are going to be here for a cookout later on. I'm not going to see my dad today. My sister's on duty because she didn't have plans. And this is my second day off from visiting with my dad in probably 55 days or so. So I think I can slide for a day or two. So, and he's doing a lot better. So hopefully he'll be going back to assisted living hopefully next week. So things should calm down for me a little bit and I can get some free time again to do the things that I like. So, all right. All right. So let's get started. What I did because of the nature of resin is it generally takes a full 12 hours, longer if you can wait, to cure. And you have to do these coasters in 2 pours. So yesterday, was it yesterday? No, I think it was Sunday night. I poured a couple of these coasters and did the first layer. You can see that right here. So now I can add uh, the rub-ons to this. And then once I've got all the rub-ons on or applied, then I can pour the second layer of resin, which I'll do today during the demo so you can see that. But this had to be done first. So just keep that in mind when you work with resin, that it's not something that's going to get done in one day. It's a multi-step process. And another thing is you need to let this sit or set on a flat surface, and you should cover it while the resin is, just poured, so that it doesn't get dust or cat or dog hair that's usually floating in the air. You don't want that landing on your resin because it will cure right in there. You'll never get it out. So what I do is I make sure that I am on a level surface, and then I cover it with a clean plastic box, and that way it keeps it safe and clean. Okay, so that said, we will move along. All right, so what I've done is I've cut a lot of the designs that I want to use in today's demo. I cut them out last night. The designing of this is the most difficult part you're going to do in this whole process. Unless you're just using like one central image, that's not a big deal. But if you're trying to create a scene, it takes a little bit more thought in your placement, in your sizing. Some of these things, are not to scale if you were trying to create a little scene like that. So you have to give those things a little bit of consideration. You're going to make a big mess with paper. You're going to have little snippings all over the place, so it's probably a good idea to keep a garbage can right next to you so that you can kind of get rid of some of that stuff because it gets everywhere. You will need a burnisher and or a craft stick. Craft stick is a great burnisher for this project. Usually when you buy rub-ons, a couple of them will come in the package, but craft sticks are like, I don't know, they're very inexpensive. You can buy a whole big box of them at the craft store and have them for like the rest of your life. So that's not really, any big deal. I use a plastic burnisher that I use for my copper foiling when I do glass work and stuff. So if you have something like that, you could even use a burnisher for metal work. It's really not a big deal what you choose to use. Okay. Yeah, Pat says she has a long-haired cat and wondered about that. It absolutely will get in your resin. When I set my ones that I did the last time off to cure, I lifted up the lid to check on it, and I had one of my hairs in it, and I was able to pull that out, but that's because it was long. Resin is messy. it's very messy. So you want to just kind of be prepared for all possibilities. Um, Having disposable gloves is a must. Uh, no matter how careful you are, and I do this all the time. I always think, oh no, I'm going to be good. I know exactly what I'm doing, what I'm pouring. I'm not going to get any on me, and I always do. So, what are you going to do? All right. So for let's see. Oh, and you also need a micro torch after you pour your resin. Um, as it's starting to settle, it will bring a lot of bubbles up to the surface, and you need to get those popped with a micro torch. Just a little quick, uh, go over with the torch uh, takes care of that. However, you need to stay on top of it for a while. There's about with the resin that I'm using, it says you've got about 45 minutes of work time. I would never stay on it that long. It's pretty quick, but what I mean is, I once I torch the bubbles off, that's not to say that more won't surface, because they will. So you want to kind of keep an eye on that for a little while, for at least a half an hour or 45 minutes, something like that, after you've already poured, just to be on the safe side, because bubbles kind of ruin, the outcome of the project. Unless you're doing an underwater scene and you don't care if there's bubbles in there or not. But I would prefer to keep my resin as glass-like as possible and with no bubbles in there. So I did not bring my torch over here, so I'm going to have to get up later on and do that. But that's not a big deal. All right. All right. Hey, Toots. Glad you could make it. All right. So for this project, I'm also using a ceramic tile, but any hard surface, even the table, as long as you're working on something solid, will work. If you're trying to do these rub-ons on, say, like on a magazine or something. I don't know why you would do that, but that just popped in my head. Because they stress doing it on a hard surface. So when I was at the hospital, or not the hospital, but the rehab with my dad, I brought a cutting board that I don't use in the kitchen. So I brought that to lay on his bed. That's been my work table for several weeks, and that worked fine. So uh, anything like that will work for you. All right, so I am going to lower the camera and let you see what I'm doing here. Hopefully I will get everything in view. I should probably work on a higher surface. Let me get that other box. Let's see if I can do this. If this will work. So you can see better, since I don't have that close-up camera. That'll probably be a little bit better. All right. So I cut out some pieces that I thought I would like to use. And they're going to have, you're going to have some, you don't have to get super, super close with the trimming, but close enough, because, you want to overlap some things. And I'm going to try to remember how I did this, because I had it all figured out before before I started actually peeling the backing paper off. So I kind of want to get an idea again of what I had figured out. I did order, I placed another order with Taper Luigi, but they come from China, so it takes a while to get everything. But I ordered some other, like, more bouquet type flowers that are larger, and that would make a nice, nice little scenery kind of thing. Let's see here. Just trying to get an idea. And they have some little bees, and I thought that those were cute, and little butterflies as well. I just kind of want to get an idea of how I'm going to do this. No, Deb, I did take a photo of it. You betcha. I would never remember this. That was actually something I was going to try to remember to tell you, but I didn't. And thanks for bringing that up, Deb, because I would never remember how I did that. So, and this is why I was saying some little grasses, little short grasses and stuff, or little fine wispy grasses in between here would be cool if they would add some of those things to their product line. I think it would be pretty neat. So let's just say we'll start here with this big hydrangea. So I'm just going to peel off this white backing paper. Let me put my glasses on here. All right, we'll peel off the backing paper. Easier said than done. The rub-ons themselves, see how that backing paper comes off? The rub-on is actually quite fragile. You want to be careful not to scratch this or touch anything else with it, because it will pull off and I don't know, it will get mangled and then it becomes not usable. So you're just going to place that down where you want it. Kind of get rid of these for right now. All right, so I'll take my popsicle stick or craft stick, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to rub this whole image really, really well. Don't be real quick to think you've got it all down. I mean, you might, but it's better to just take an extra minute and rub it real well and get it well placed on here. The other thing is, if you lay this down with a sticky backing and you decide, oh, I needed to nudge it over a little bit, you're out of luck, because you will ruin the image. There's no changing it once you lay it down. All right. Now, I've seen the broadcast getting a green screen just for a flash of like a nanosecond. I don't know if you guys are having any issues or not. Hopefully you're not. Okay. And be careful not to scratch your resin while you're working on this, because it will show. All right, so now I want to peel up that top layer, pull that off. You can see what I'm doing here. And the image is even more beautiful when you take that protective paper off. So here's what I'm saying. All these little bits and pieces that you trimmed around, plus all the stuff that you're taking off, you're going to generate a lot of waste. All right, now it looks so pretty without the white backing paper on there. I guess I'll put this down. So I'm going to peel this little piece off. Fingernails come in handy for this kind of stuff, but they don't always work. Be careful how you handle this. Like I said, once you place it, you're committed. You can't change it. All right. Try to stay just on the image and not rub on the resin, because that will make marks that will show after everything's all cured. Get all the way up to the tips, the edges of the image, because if you don't have it placed securely, it will pull off. Then you will cry. This is really such a cool technique, I think. Easy peasy, but has lots of possibilities. All right, I should do that just a little bit more, I think. Isn't that cool? So far, that's what we have. Okay, moving right along. If you have arthritis in your fingers or your forefinger, that this doesn't feel too good. But I won't be doing a whole lot. Actually, I think this other burnisher that I have is a little bit kinder to my arthritic finger. So that's that little piece on there. All right. Let's see. There's actually room for more stuff on here than I allowed for, I guess. It's all kind of a crapshoot. I don't know. I keep getting a green screen. But like I said before on my last demo, I think, I had the green screen a lot while I was live, but then when I replayed it, I didn't see any green screen come up at all. So I don't know what's with that, but I don't know if I like that or not. I don't want to make it too busy, but sometimes less is more, as they say. I find that to be fairly true, depending on what you're doing. Okay. It seems like I had more stuff before. I don't know. But no, I didn't. Okay. All right. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and I'll put these roses on. And I may change my mind to add anything else. That's one thing about these two, I think I was saying before. The scale is not always um, accurate. You know, like this hydrangea is so much larger than these roses, but I think it still kind of works. I guess when the people who made these designed them, uh, probably was just thinking in a broad sense, you know, how people could use these and not really in a specific way like I'm using them. But who knows? But I hope the company takes my suggestions. It probably will take forever if they even do, but it sure would be nice. And you know, there's lots of rub-ons available on Amazon as well. I have not purchased any of those yet, but I intend to. But as far as cost, they're all about, well, I'd say pretty much the same because I thought this companies were fairly expensive, but after looking at the ones at Amazon, I'd say they're pretty much in line. So, but I guess it would be more fair to buy some of those and then, uh, see for myself what I think about that. Yay. It's coming along. I think what I did was when I cut all these little pieces out last night, I used the other um, mold that has the faceted edge, and I think this is just slightly smaller than this one, and that's why they're lining up a little bit differently. I'm pretty sure that that's what the difference is here. I should have something a little bit higher in here though. Maybe. Ooh, this is kind of cool. This purpley one. Get yourself some nice sharp pointy scissors to be doing this. I cut around some of the design, but I don't know that it's really necessary. So let's see how that looks here. Just to get some other stuff in there. My thought is to cover up some of these stems so that they don't look like they're just random, floating in the above the scene, but maybe that's just my problem or my way of thinking of it. And even just this little bit of working here, I'm finding little schmutz floating around that's getting on the, yeah, I think that'll do. So before I pour the resin layer on there, I want to make sure that it's nice and clean. What I intend to do with some of these, because I've made quite a few, I have a show out in the park in 2 weeks, and I made a bunch of those soldered beveled squares that I'm going to put on little clear plastic easels and see if they sell at all. I thought if nothing else, it would make a nice little addition to my table. I thought that might be kind of fun. And if you read my saga of hunting for the the plastic easel, I just about drove myself crazy. But I get in these moods where it's like it's on my mind and I just want to get it accomplished and then stop thinking about it. And I went to 5 stores before I found what I was looking for. And I was tired. I had been with my dad all afternoon. But I was in one of those OCD moods, I guess, or modes. And I wasn't going to stop until I had conquered. And I did. I had looked up online for Dollar Tree, and I'm not a huge dollar store fan, but occasionally they have things that I want, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on that unless I knew it was what I wanted. And I had ordered one from, no, I had not. Let me get my thoughts. Oh, I just screwed that up. Farts. Well, I guess that's going to be where it's going to be. Yep. If I move it, I'd be peeling that up. I guess it'll still be all right. It's just not exactly where I wanted it. But, oh well. Anyway, I went to the Dollar Tree, and they didn't have any. They were sold out. But I looked it up online first, and they said they had them. So I went over to the one closest to my house. They were gone. Then I went to another town that's maybe 10 minutes further in a different direction. They didn't have any. Then I went the other opposite way for maybe 10 minutes or so and found another one, and they didn't have any. Then I went to Joann Fabrics, and they didn't have any. And then I went to Michael's, and they had one, but it was a little larger than I wanted. But I just said, the heck with it, I'm getting it. And I did. And then I was happy, but exhausted. And then I found them on Amazon. But they, I knew they had them on Amazon, but I wanted it like that night. And if Michaels hadn't had them, I would have just had to say, okay, well, I have to get them from Amazon, and that's that. But being OCD, um, I wanted to try my best to get them. Okay. Just a couple more pieces, and then we can pour our resin. I hope you're all having a great day in whatever you're doing or not doing. Holidays have gotten much more low-key in my life, and I like it that way. I truly do. We have such a small family anyway. It's not like our neighbors across the street have, I don't know, gazillions of people in their family. They always have tons of cars over, and they're more party people, as we are not. We've just become fuddy-duddies. Deb asks, why don't you have Al make easels for you? Well, I could, I suppose, but he's such a perfectionist, I'd probably have to wait a really long time before I got him. So, no, no insult to Al, but I mean, he's good, but it takes a while. And they need to be cost effective too. I mean, his time, well, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, after he makes something, I wouldn't want to just include that with, um, a little $10 project or whatever. If you know what I mean, it would take, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Do I want anything else in there, or should I leave well enough alone? Let's see. Let's see if that fits in that little spot and looks okay. I mean, really, it's part of the fun, doing the design, but it can take a long time to figure it all out. I don't know. Oh, what the heck. I'll stick them on there. Why not? The other thing when you're doing this is trying to determine how much resin you're going to need. And that's kind of a hard thing to decide. In the handout, I wasn't real specific on how much you need, only that you need equal portions, equal amounts of your resin, the part A and part B. If you don't mix exactly equal amounts, your resin won't set properly. It can be sticky. It can actually not stick. I mean, not stick, not set. Um, and then your project is pretty much ruined then, if it never sets. Now I have looked it up because it had been an issue in the past where I had some resin that wasn't setting very well, and it really was because the proportions weren't right. And some people suggested, I think it was maybe clear nail polish or something, which didn't work for me. And then they have some kind of spray or something that you could apply, but nothing that I tried ever resolved the issue. So it was like a project that was scrapped because um, it all came down to the proportions weren't right. So that's really important. And I'd rather mix too much resin than not enough because of the working time. Well, the working time maybe not so much, but it's a scramble if you realize that you didn't mix enough and you have to make up another batch real quick. It's just better to have more than not enough right from the get-go. This one's so close to the edge. Okay. So once you've taken that protective coating off, make sure you don't touch your work or you're going to scratch it. All right, so I'll put my bees on and then the design is done. Try not to hit the resin beyond where you're rubbing on the sticker or rub on, whatever you want to call it. I think they call them transfer stickers, but these are different than regular stickers. Regular stickers, you don't rub on like this. There's no protective coating, and sometimes there's a white background on a sticker. So these are a little bit different. Well, they're a lot different. All right, one more bee. Let's see, here. I wish the bees were a little bit smaller too, but I guess we can't have everything. Now, I haven't drilled through one of these coasters, but I know it can be done. You just make a little pilot hole and then probably take like a ball burr or something like that and go through it if you wanted to hang them. Probably will make a mess of little crumbs of resin, but I'm sure it can be done. All right. Oh, slipped off. Okay, so that's the design. I'm pleased with this. I think that looks pretty nice. All right, now I want to make sure I'm blowing on this, but I don't want to get any spit on there. When you get these coasters, these silicone coasters, they are dirty. At least mine were. So I washed them out because they had little black particles on them, and I didn't want those in my design. Let me clean up this mess here. All right. Get these little bits and pieces of paper off of here. All right, so I'm going to get all this other stuff out of my way. What happened here? Okay. All right, so all this stuff out of the way. I have got a silicone mat on here that if I spill any resin on, it's not going to get on anything else. And once the resin sets, say if you've got little drips and stuff, once that sets, you can just pick that dried resin off. That's the thing with resin. If you spill and have drips, just let it set up. Don't try to wipe it off. Let it set, and then you can peel it off. All right, so I have my little medicine cups. These are little graduated disposable medicine cups that I got. I got these on Amazon, and they have a bunch of different measurements. However much you decide you need, you just make sure that you are filling them up to the, each one to the exact measurement. Okay. So the resin comes in like a part A and part B. This one doesn't say part A and part B, but it says resin, and then this one says hardener on here. This is art resin that I really like a lot. I've been using this for a few years. I have used others in the past, but I had a lot of yellowing with the finished pieces. After a period of time, they tend to yellow a little bit. I have not noticed any yellowing so far with this stuff, and it's very crystal clear. So it's a brand that I would recommend, although there's tons of different ones out there should you choose a different one. Now I've got some leftovers in two older bottles that I'm going to use up first, and I'm going to measure these things out. It always seems like there's always a little bit more of one than the other left in the bottle. I'm not really sure how that works when you're measuring out equally. Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm not really sure how that works. Maybe one's more dense than the other. I don't really know, but to me, logically, it would seem like if you're putting exact amounts of each one in, you should have the exact amount left in each bottle, but it never seems to be that way. However, I did notice on this new set of bottles that I've got, the bottle for one of them is filled up all the way to the top, and the other one's a little bit short. So that could be part of the issue too, that I never really paid attention to. So I have the two little medicine cups that I'm going to measure my equal parts out, and then I have a little bit bigger, like a little disposable cocktail cup, whatever, glass, and I'm going to pour those into this and make my mixture. Another thing that's important when you're doing your resin pour is that you mix your resin slowly. Don't whip it around. The more vigorous or whatever, stirring action that you're using, you're going to be incorporating air bubbles in there. So it's going to make enough air bubbles on its own without you whipping it around. So just mix it slowly, mix it well, and scrape the sides of your container and your bottom of the container, you know, periodically as you're mixing. You're going to mix for a full 3 minutes with this resin, and then we're going to let it rest for just a couple minutes, and then we'll pour it into our mold. I have a timer handy right here that I'm going to set for 3 minutes. This one always jumps the gun. It always goes a minute farther than you press it. All right, so now I'm going to remember to put my gloves on. And, you know, try to wipe up the bottles as soon as you're using them if you've got a little drippy stuff hanging out on the bottle. Try to keep the bottles clean because the next time you pick it up, you're going to get your hands all sticky. So keep some paper toweling around. And now I'm only doing the one today. When I poured these that I got ready for, I did 3 of them. And I poured 2 full containers. I did 2 sets of these, of the resin and the hardener, because I wanted to make sure I had enough. And I did just have enough for the 3. Now, only doing 1 and topping off, when I don't know if I said this before, and I need to say this. When I poured the initial layer, this is only halfway filled in the mold. I don't think I said that before. You only fill halfway in your mold. And then you put your transfers on there, your rub-on transfers on there, and then you pour the second half on top. Okay, so it's in 2 parts. And this resin is self-leveling, so it will not spill over unless you super overfill it. It should just run to the edges and stop. Okay, so that's another thing to think about. All right, let's see here. So I'm going to go and see if I didn't, well, no, I'll stop with that. I'm going to maybe put these 3/4 full, and okay. So this will be at the 3/4 fluid ounce measure mark. Okay. Okay. This is the 3/4 fluid ounce measure. And wipe off the threads of the cap, if you think about it. That will keep it from getting super hard to open the bottle the next time you want to use it. Let's see. Where is my measure for 3/4 fluid ounce? Not quite there. I'm just about empty with this. I was hoping to get it used up. Another thing you could do, if you really wanted to make sure, is weigh it. Get your little gram scale out, and you could weigh the resin. Where am I at here? I think I'm still just a bit shy on this one. This is where you want to squeeze the bottle and have it come out, but it doesn't work that way. I think I've pretty much done with this. Maybe there's some in the cap. Oh, here we go. Drippy, drippy. This is crazy. It's just, okay, here we go. Some's coming out of the cap. Cool. It is funny, but if you're not accurate, like I said, that just creates problems. And you will be very unhappy after all the work that you put into it if it doesn't set right. So this one I'm pouring what? It's 335, something like that. I'm going to leave it alone till tomorrow morning, and I'll check on it in the morning and just see how it's doing. And then I'll post a picture. I'll probably leave it till about dinner time before I take it out of the mold, just to be sure and not make sure that I don't get any fingerprints on it, because once it's nice and solid and cured, you won't get the fingerprints. But if it wasn't quite set, you might get them. All right, I'm going to leave that as good. All right, so I've got my 2 measures here, and I've got my timer ready. I'm going to pour these in. I want to make sure I get all of that out of each cup. And then I'll take my craft stick and scrape out every little bit that I can possibly scrape out of that cup, so I still keep the measurement accurate. I should have a little tiny silicone spatula. That's what I need. Actually, I probably have one around here, but I've got so much crap around here that I can't always find things. Do you ever, I hope, well, I tend to buy stuff again that I already had purchased because I forgot that I had it or I couldn't find it. And then someday when you're not looking for anything, you come across it and say, well, how did I get 3 of these? And that's pretty much how that happens, because everything is not put where it's supposed to be, or there's just too much of it. That's the problem I have here, is I just have too much stuff and not enough space. And I'm not real good about organizing. I mean, I am to a degree, but I always hop from one thing to another, so sometimes things don't get put away where they should, and then I forget where they are. Okay, so I think I've got everything in there. I'm going to switch to a tongue depressor. It's just got a little bit, and see, my gloves are all full of resin, so it's a good thing I have them on. All right, start my timer, and now I'm going to mix. And I'm just going to do it slowly. And I have an itch on my nose. Figures. Okay, so I'm just going to mix slowly. Mix around the edges. and the bottom. Just go slow. It looks like I have blue resin since it's in a little blue cup. I got these at the dollar store too, and they didn't have clear ones. They just had this color blue, so I thought that'll be it. That's what I'm going to have. You see, I don't know if you can see, but there are some bubbles in here already. And I am trying to take it slow. It's hard to go slow, at least for me. My instinct is just to whip the heck out of it, like if you were beating eggs or something. So you want to do this for a full 3 minutes. Yeah, it's incredible how many bubbles you get even just going slow. You don't have to have a tongue depressor, um, but I just like mixing with it a little bit more in a larger container. If you're using the small mixing cups, the craft stick is fine. The other thing, I have a board that I'm going to, actually I could get it out right now. I just have a white board that I'm going to lay my mold on, because you don't want to be picking the mold up that's full of resin, or you're going to spill it. That's just how it works. And then as soon as I pour this into the, here's my timer. As soon as I pour this into my mold, then I'm going to, well, actually, I'll go get it now. I'll get my torch. Put these on the side here. All right, I'm gonna get my torch. And all you need is a micro torch. You don't need to blast it with anything heavier than that. And these are silicone molds, so they can take a little bit of the heat, but you can fry them if you keep your heat on there too long. All right, so I'm just letting that resin rest for just a half a minute or so, and then I'll pour that in. There's quite a few bubbles in here. I don't know if you can see it in the cup. Yeah, you can. Okay, I was just checking on my laptop. All right. All right, so I'm just going to start. I don't think it matters where you start, but I'm going to start in the middle. Pour that in. take my stick and get all of this poured in there because I've got the room for it without it overflowing. So I guess the 3/4 fluid ounce was just perfect for this mold. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect for any other one because that depends on how much you had on your first coat or first layer. So it's all kind of relative. And to me, that's like a huge coaster. I don't know if you can tell from the screen, but that makes it pretty darn big. To me, it looks more like a little luncheon plate almost. But on a little easel, it's really cute. All right. So I think I've got all of it out here that I can get out. And that's going to go directly in the garbage. And I can't really tell. I guess I could have had a little bit more resin, but I think it'll be okay for what purpose I'm using this for. But can you see the bubbles surfacing here? On here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take my gloves off. And I see that I have a comment here. Julie says, placing the mixing cup in some warm water for a few minutes causes some of the bubbles to come up to the top and pop. It works well. Okay, that's good to know, Julie. I've never tried that. All right, so I'm going to take my torch and I instantly see all the bubbles pop. But there'll be more. And I see a little piece of fuzz. So I'm going to get, if I had a toothpick, I would use that, but I don't have one right by my side. So I've got an awl, and I'm going to, where that piece of fuzz came from, who can say? But it just looked like fuzz to me. And here's another one. That's so weird. All right, I see a couple more bubbles forming right around here. I don't know if you can tell or see that when I hit the flame. If you can actually see the bubbles pop or not on the screen, I doubt it. Hey, Jennifer. Yeah, so that's it. I will keep an eye on this for maybe half an hour, maybe not even that long, just to see. Now, see, another bubble just popped up here. Or is it a bubble? It could be a piece of schmutz. No, it's a bubble. I'll keep an eye on it for a little while. And, oh, you get to see my head in the screen. I'll turn it around so you can see how it looks. Like that. I'm pretty happy with that. As long as it sets properly, and it should. I think I did everything okay as far as the measurements go. But sometimes you can pop a bubble too, but sometimes they're stubborn, and it takes that little bit of flame to pop them open, or get rid of them, whatever. But I'm happy with the design. I think it looks pretty good. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask away. I'm going to cover this right now while I'm talking because I don't want to have anything happen or get into there. So I'm just going to cover it with that box, but I'm going to check on it again in just a few minutes and pop any other bubbles that might surface, and go from there. Okay, so the next one, the next demo, I'm pretty sure I will be doing the rub-ons with the little guys with the glass. Now, I've already done a demo on soft solder, which this is considered, way back, and you can find it on the YouTube channel. It's harder to find things on Facebook anymore as far as my library of demos, but YouTube is a sure thing, so I'm transferring all the stuff over there, and well, I've transferred it all over there already, and just add each demo excuse me, as I do them. And that way you should always find them because they have the titles on them where Facebook, that didn't work. So you'll be able to find those. So I think I'll be doing these next time. If you haven't done any soldering work, this type of soft solder, you might want to check the demo that I did. I think I called it Lab Slides Under Glass, something like that. And you can see the process of what it takes, to do this technique, because you need a soldering iron, not a soldering gun, not a torch. You need a regular soldering iron. And I bought some beveled glass. Excuse me. I bought some beveled glass squares, 3-inch and 4-inch, and then cut some plain glass for the back. You could do bevel to bevel if you wanted to and not cut any glass. It makes it thicker, but it's doable. Plus, it's a little bit more expensive, but that is doable. You just would need a wider copper foil tape to hold them together. So I may do those next time. I love doing these rub-ons on the fabric, and Taperluigi sells the fabric along with the rub-ons. So it's fairly inexpensive. You get pretty much fabric. I think it's for $5. And you just tear it. You just cut a little snip and then tear it to the size that you want. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of real fun, actually. So you could do it that way, or you could make smaller ones for pendants. They make kind of large pendants, but it's an option. You put a little hanger on there. I did not put hanging things on here. You could solder them on there. You could solder a loop on here, but I didn't because it's not a very wide piece of copper foil tape, and these bevels are fairly heavy. So I was thinking that maybe over time it might pull off, from the weight. That little ring might just pull off and wreck the tape. I don't know that for sure, but my first thought was to put them in little easels, and just make them little decorative arts that you can put different places in your house or make little gifts. I had him upside down. So that's my thought for that. And then possibly the demo after that, I'll do the agate slices with resin. I bought like a little colored, I don't know if they're inks or what they are, but they're to make the agate slice likeness, decoration, whatever. And then like a gold foil pen to do the inside of the agate slice. I think that's going to be fun, but I haven't even attempted it yet. So who knows how that's going to go. And then I have other things in the works too. I posted yesterday about earring kits that I have for sale. The silver and the copper chevron boho earrings, that's what I'm calling them because of the design on here, the chevron kind of pattern. And I have more kits in copper than I do in silver, but they are available right now. So if you want a kit or two, just message me, tell me what you want, and I haven't started invoicing anybody yet for these, but that'll be happening in the next day or two. And I'm going to do a short demo on how to put them together, and I'll probably do later today or tomorrow, the demo on that. I've got the handout for this project for today that I'll get posted in the group. And the other thing I wanted to mention is Deb Mauser is doing a retreat in October in North Carolina. And I think she's got 3 spots still open for the retreat. It looks like it will be a lot of fun. She has the information available on First Friday Freebies for Metalsmiths group page if you want to check that out. All the information's on there, I believe. So, if that sounds like something fun that you'd like to do, I would go on there and check it all out. Deb's a great instructor. She's a very fun gal. And I just wanted to pitch that for her a little bit because I'm sure it'll be fabulous. So let me check on this one once more since I'm right here. And I have a big bubble on the side that I'm going to hit with the torch. And that's it for now for that. And I'm going to let it sit until tomorrow morning. I will check on it once or twice before I call it a day, but I have to go start getting dinner things ready for our little cookout. And I guess that's it. I always think of something after I say bye, but nothing's coming to mind right now. So I'll post it on the group page if something else comes up. All right. I hope you enjoyed this little demo and that you'll try it. I'll post a couple Amazon links if there's anything like the coaster molds or some of the medicine cups, the rub-ons that they carry. I'll put a few links to those places if you want to check that stuff out. And also the taperology. I don't know why, but look it up. If you go to their website, it shows you how they pronounce the word. But it'll probably always be taperology to me. So, go figure. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I always enjoy you being here with me. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Stay safe. Keep all your fingers. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.